Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. We're looking at the last day here on the bottom area. This is part of the old cocklebur field, and we left this one piece here in the center, a stockpile. We just gave it to him this morning, and I don't know, it's an acre and a half of stockpile. It wasn't very much, but it's pretty high. It's good stuff, and I have to back up on that. We gave that to him last night. This morning, so we had a clean area, you might say, to come in here. It hadn't had cattle on it, except for last night. And we put 3 big ram bales on here this morning. And I just wanted to show you the effect of unrolling hay on stockpile. So, those cows, there's a few of them hanging around that hay, but there's some right there actually hanging around that cow. Looks like she may be coming in heat. But anyway, there's what they're eating. It's a big old fluff of stockpile. It's got a little bit of green in it. There's not too many of them actually eating the hay. They're actually cleaning up the stockpile that we gave them last night. This was some really high quality stuff. Just super feed. This is where we were when it was the negative temperatures last week. Today it's supposed to hit, I think they said 48 or 50. The snow, you can see the snow up on the hill. Anywhere you put the cattle at, the snow disappears now because the tracking, it busts that up. See that cow there's got him a little bite, or little heifers. They're doing good on this stuff. You can offer them just a treat of stockpile. It doesn't take as much hay, and we've just noticed their body language, temperament, satisfaction. It all goes up. But look at this. This is where we unrolled hay, and this whole bottom is just covered like that. You can see some up there in the foreground. There must be, I don't know, 10,000 cow pats out here. Each one of those is a $1 bill. And I can't spread them open because they're frozen. I mean, they're just like rocks. They're starting to thaw. The top of that's thawed a little bit, but the ones that have been here a while, there's a small one. I was able to open that one up. But we're not going to be back here now until middle of April. Latter part of May. So this is going to have a good time, a good recovery period before we come back. So all this manure will be gone, and the earthworms, we've got a bonanza down here, earthworms. And this was the old soybean field when I leased this farm in 2001. And this is conventional tilled, plowed disc, glyphosate. You name it, they threw it at it. And I remember walking this field with a spade, and there was not a single earthworm in it. Nowhere. Couldn't find one. They just weren't here. The soil had been nuked for so many years that it just gave up. And there was a huge ditch kind of up there coming off that field right there on top, coming down through here. And we took and fed hay in it, and the cows sloughed it all in, and now it's all grass. But there was a ditch there you could hardly drive a four-wheeler through. And the farmer he'd get his disc fired up in the spring, or his plow, whichever he decided to use, and he would plow right through that ditch and fill it all right back in with loose dirt. And the next year, there that ravine was again. I mean, talk about farming with blinders on. My goodness. Why would you do that? That soil that made that big hole that's gone now, where do you think it went? It's gone. Down in the road ditch. So don't get comfortable and cozy when you see a ditch forming. Take care of it. Heal it. And you can heal it with ruminant animals, putting a bale on it. this time of year especially, the cows will really do a good job on it. The cows are pretty fluffy right now. They got a good winter hair coat. And last week, you know, we had that negative temperatures. It was cold out here. It's a good thing they did have some good hair on them, because if they hadn't, they'd have been very uncomfortable, and they could have even froze to death. Talked to a friend of mine down at Houston, and they just got hammered with that last storm. And of course, they weren't used to, you know, the homes and the whole area down there is not built for having negative temperatures with 6-8 inches of snow on the ground. He lost pipes in his house and his cattle herd. Luckily, he had ponds that he could turn the cows into to get a drink. A lot of people didn't have ponds, and there was no way to water their livestock because they didn't have any power. So that's another reason it's kind of nice to have a pond. You know, if you, without electricity, you can always go out there and put your wire around that pond. Even if it's, you know, negative temperatures, cut a hole in the ice and let them drink from it. Just make sure they can't get out on the pond. You always put a wire around your pond in the wintertime if there's ice on it. They will venture out on that ice, especially if it's got snow on it. It just looks like ground. And every year, without missing a year, the fire department around here will rescue a horse or a cow, or, you know, something that's gotten out on the ice with the snow on it. And it's usually the third or fourth one after that causes the trouble. One will get out there, he's kind of hanging out, and his buddies come out to see him. Now you've got 3,000 or 4,000 pounds of weight out there in the middle of that pond, and the ice might only be 2 or 3 inches thick, and you got a problem. They fall through the ice and they can't get out. And they don't last very long, folks. So it doesn't take anything to take a piece of poly, and I'm sold on poly braid, not poly wire. You couldn't give me a roll of poly wire. I wouldn't take it. Poly braid is twice as conductive. It'll last 20, 25 years. This stuff right here is 15 years old. That's from Powerflex. As far as I'm concerned, they've got the best poly braid out there. And that's where I get my poly braid. It's good stuff. It's part of doing business, folks. I just saw somebody, I don't even remember the name of the YouTube channel, but some guy was chasing the steers down through the woods, and they'd gotten out, and he was cursing and swearing. He said, "I'll never use poly wire again." Well, yeah, if you use poly wire, they're going to get out, because it will fail. It's only got, well, depending on which one you buy. Some of it's got 3, some of it's got 6 steel strands in it. This stuff here's got 9. It's got 6 steel and 3 copper. And if you don't think that's conducting power, you reach out and touch that. And even with rubber boots on, you're gonna get nailed. That thing's holding about 8,000 volts. So, you know, it just hurts. That's all, it hurts. And that's what you want. You want it to hurt, and then the animals don't mess with it anymore. But this is the last day in this bottom. The boys and I got that ridge up there put in this morning. We've got some stockpile. It's pretty thin up there on top because we grazed that. It had more clover in it, and the deer, man, have we got the deer. The deer have been working that ridge over up there pretty good. So we brought 9 big round bales up there, and we'll get 3 in the morning, 3 at night. We've already unrolled those for tonight. They're up there in that snow. It's easier to do it when the ground's frozen, when it gets slick out here, and it will with this sun out today. But so the cattle will be out of this bottom now that it's getting warmer and softer. Somebody said the other day, do you put in drain tiles in your bottoms to get the water off? No, I don't. I just don't graze bottom areas when it's wet and puggy. Got to use some management. Keep them up on the side of those hills, and then when the bottoms, you know, drain out and hold up a cow, then you go down and graze those areas. But I'm not going to tile my farm. I want to keep the water. I don't want it draining off. And I think that's just ridiculous. All these people putting these drain tiles. My gosh, the crop fields. I mean, it's just unbelievable. They're drain tiling everything out there in that prairie. just 5 miles east of us. Every time you go out there, there's another trencher, and they're putting in more drain tile, and they get in a drought, and they're screaming because they didn't make a crop because they don't have any water. Well, they got rid of it. You put a drain tile on your farm, you're not going to keep the water. That's just ridiculous. So hold on to your water, folks. It's precious. Build soil, build organic matter. Focus on putting plenty of carbon down like we're doing right here. Intermix with a few of those. And you're going to hold on to water. Always remember this. Don't give your neighbors your water. Keep it. And the way you keep it is you keep the ground covered. No bare soil. Absolutely not 1 square foot. No bare soil anywhere. And if you have a piece of bare soil, put some hay on it. Throw a little grass seed down on it. Put some compost on it. Get some grass growing on it. Don't leave it bare, because it will not collect the solar energy. And we are in the solar energy business. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Boys are waiting on me over here. We're going to get going. Got to go do the sheep. Check them out. And we'll see y'all down the road. Hit that subscribe button on the way out if you're new to the channel. I'd appreciate it. And that like button. And we'll see y'all down at another time.